If you've ever felt like there's just too much on your plate, too many responsibilities, too many things on the to-do list, too many expectations, well, you're not alone. Overwhelm is one of the most common struggles I hear from women that I meet with, especially those of us in midlife who are juggling careers, family, relationships, and areas of our own personal growth. Welcome to the Heart Path Podcast, your space to realign, reconnect and rise. I'm Nicola Spencer. I'm a thought leader, a coach in women's confidence, an NLP practitioner, a human design specialist, teacher and coach. And I'm here to help women in their 40s and 50s rediscover their purpose, find the joy in the chaos and rise into their next chapter with confidence and grace. Together, we'll explore stories, strategies, and soulful insights to help you embrace your true self and step into a life you love. This is where we let go of limits, redefine what's possible, and thrive in every season of life. It's your time to rise. Are you ready?
This is my moment, my heart's design. I rise and thrive, the world is mine. On the heart path, where dreams take flight, I shine my brightest, my guiding light.
Welcome back to the Heart Path, where we explore self-discovery, alignment, and living with intention. I'm Nicola Spencer, and today we're talking about something so many of us carry every day, and it's the weight of overwhelm. Now, why do we feel overwhelmed? Okay, it's a very common feeling that women especially feel. And why does it seem that, like, no matter how much we do, there's always something else waiting for us, right? And most importantly, how do we start letting go of all of that weight we are carrying? You know, it can be overwhelming. That's the meaning of the word, and it really does sometimes bog you down. So, just last week I had a moment where I was completely paralyzed by my to-do list. And this wasn't just about work. I had emails to answer. Obviously, I had lessons to plan for school. I need to do more episodes of my podcast. And then all of these other things. We had a long weekend coming up. I've got Reignite and Rise coming up. I had a Heart Path meditation on Friday as well. So all of this stuff to get ready. And then on top of that, you've got, I've got all of that kind of like me stuff. And then on top of that, I've got all of the expectations of being a mum, of the home, and all of that. And in the middle of that, I kind of realized at some point that even though I had intentionally carved out time for myself, I probably wasn't really taking enough. And I kind of thought throughout this process that I was carrying so much, but I hadn't actually stopped to ask myself, do I need to carry all of this? And in our house, we have a intention. Well, I have the intention. Other people in the house may not agree with it. That like we all share the cooking. I'll do some. I pre-cook some of the meals that I have, and then we have other people that. So my two sons, they cook once a week, and Shane, my partner, sometimes he cooks. But because of schedules, and it doesn't always work out that way. Last week was in particular, one of my sons was at camp. Another one of my sons was doing a lot of things with his go-karts in the evening, and there was a lot going on. So it kind of like sometimes things slip, and then who's there to pick up the backfall? The mum, me. Okay, so today we're diving into what we carry more, like why we carry more than we should, and the signs that overwhelm is overtaking, and how to start releasing all of that weight from us. Okay, so overwhelm is like a mental load, and it's not just necessarily, your to-do list. It's the weight that you can't see. And there's an emotional responsibility that women often have, and we carry this with us. And we've been conditioned to do this. We've seen our mums and our grandparents and other women that we see who we've had friends with over the years, the school community. Everyone just runs on this kind of, expectation that they've got an emotional responsibility. And continually we have a mental checklist going through. Who needs what, who needs us, where should we be, all of these things. And it just continually, without realizing it, we're continuously checking off and reorganizing things in our mind to make sure that we are staying on top of everything and all of these moving parts of our life. And we feel as if we are the people that are responsible for it. We're the person, it's us. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm definitely a work in progress. And I would say, uh, you know, it's taking a long time. I would say probably over the last definitely 5 years, things actually no, probably the last 10 years, things have got better since COVID. It has become a little bit more overwhelming with things. And I think that's also because as my children are older now, they have responsibilities outside of the house that I don't have to take them to, which is great, but it does mean that they're not here to do some of the traditional jobs that they'd had. So, I guess, swings and roundabouts, you kind of like pick up where you can. So if you're at work and, you're remembering all these deadlines that you have, and depending on your role, you might be managing people's expectations. And, for myself, I'm a teacher. I work in a school where there are high demands in my role, and that is it comes from within the department, but it is also the students that come to my school, and I have to hold space for those students. And I really am the role model. If I became overwhelmed during my role while I'm teaching, I feel as if I've let myself down, because for me as a teacher, I need to model all of the things that I'm trying to instill within the students that I work with. So at home, I've just spoke a little bit about that, but it's not just planning meals. And let me tell you, it is absolutely exhausting planning meals. And I'm a meal planner from way back. I have always, even before smartphones were around, I had a list of the aisles in the shopping centre all typed out on my computer, and I'd tick off what I needed. And I tried to make it as simple as I can. And then smartphones came, and there's a great app I use, Paprika, and in there are all my recipes, and I use that to plan and shop. But as the kids get older, it is a bit harder because the work commitments, and we now have a girlfriend living with us. And what does she like, what does she doesn't like, also her work commitments. It can be like, it's probably I would say the most overwhelming task that I have each week is working out what to shop for. And it's just a basic task, but sometimes I'll just go to the shops and I'll just get the basics, and we'll leave whatever we've got on whatever we've got. But it's other things like, appointments and keeping track of birthdays, which I have to say I'm terrible of. Other events that my son's in year 12, so he's really good at keeping track of what's happening with him. But just making sure that I also am aware that school camp is actually next week, and I need to make sure that he is prepared to do everything that he needs to do. Okay, so these are all the hidden admin of life that come your way. And then we have the social expectations that we are keeping up with our friends, and we're making sure that all of our, social, I guess, like barometers are nurtured, and we're checking in on everybody. So, and even getting back to messages, sometimes if you have a, like an inbox, say, your messages, and there'll be times when I just won't answer it for a while, and it's just because it's not important. Other times it will just be, oh, I can't even face that at the moment. And these are the kinds of things that as they creep in, it really increases your mental load. And it feels like you've got 100 tabs open on your brain all at once. And there's something always constantly churning in the background. So I have a web page that I often use for when I'm posting my social media. And for some reason, it is always like churning at the top. It kind of like never fully loads, and I think that might be because I'm using it constantly. But when that's on, if I'm going to something else on my computer, a different tab, and I'm not using that, it sometimes makes everything else run slow. And even though it's in the background and I'm not using it, I always turn it off. So I think that's like a good analogy for us to think about if we have all these open tabs. Is there something that is draining you and draining your energy in the background that you could actually really easily close off? Now, I feel that this is something that what I'm going to talk about now, we all know. It's the should trap. I should. And we automatically, as women, take on too much. And we feel the guilt of we should be able to handle it all. And I think that comes from the conditioning that we've had from our people in our family, our mothers, our grandmothers, our mother-in-laws, and my mother-in-law, she put a lot of pressure on me on what I should be doing as a mum and as a working mum. And it wasn't that she didn't think that I shouldn't be working. She thought I should be working. And she thought that I should be working more than one job. And she thought that I should be doing all of these other things. And at the time when this was coming up, I was working in a position that wasn't in teaching, where I had a rotating roster, which I was starting anytime from 7 o'clock in the morning, finishing anytime at 9 o'clock at night. So for a mum with a young child, that meant that the responsibility fell onto Shane, and he was quite happy with that. It fitted in with the job, like his job that he had at the time. Childcare was great. Everything worked well. I would normally cook tea before I went to work, because when he got home, he could then just heat it up and give our son tea, and it was just like a real working partnership. And then when she came to visit, there was all of these shoulds that were piled on me, and it did make me feel guilty, and I did feel as if I should have to be handling it all. But at the same time, I also knew that we had a good system, and I didn't let all of those shoulds land on me, because it didn't serve the good system we already had. And as young parents with a young child, so Harrison, my son, was probably he probably was under 2 when all of this was happening, and he's children under 2 are very much routine, and so long as he was having everything that he needed, that's all that mattered, and we made the rest of it work ourselves. So we shouldn't really make ourselves feel guilty because of somebody else's opinion on what it is that they think we should be doing. Okay, so another thing is that especially when you're bringing up children, and you try and just push through everything, and you think, I should be able to manage this without help. And these days I hear of a lot of families who are working 2 or 3 days a week each, and having grandparents helping, and that's amazing if you can do that. And that's, if you can get help, great, but the expectation that you should be able to manage this without help, I'm hoping that that's a dying expectation for the younger mums. But for women in their 40s and 50s, we've already been there, and a lot of the times it was hard to ask for help. If I would ask for help, I always felt as if there was some condition attached to the help, and it became very, very difficult to ask for help, and I would sometimes just push on by myself. When people say I should say yes to everything, and I hear this all the time, and this is how overwhelm does start to creep in. When you say yes to everything, it obviously it creates a whole heap of extra work that you need to do. Maybe you don't need to do it, but also by saying yes to everything, it doesn't really give you the opportunity to work out for yourself what you really actually want to do, because you're doing everything for everybody. And when you sometimes stop and say no to some things, it really highlights to you what the good things are to say yes to, what you really want to do, what is your passion. And I think as you get older, these are one of the things that you really do learn by trial and error. And this is one of the parts where I think the shoulds do start to fall away, because strong boundaries and your values, your personal values, really do come into play. And I really encourage you, if you're watching this and you are in your 20s or 30s, I really encourage you to kind of dial in on this, and work out what this is, how it looks for you, because it will definitely help you as you get through to your 30s, 40s and 50s. I should be more organised. Okay, I should be more productive. I should be more capable. And these are things which have been, we, especially at the moment, we see it so much on social media. Everyone's got their perfect little lives, and we see everybody from, I guess, the outside. We don't necessarily see what's happening on the inside. And we've been conditioned to think that this is how we need to be. Okay, so these shoulds come from everyone around us, the external conditioning, that what society have tell us, how we've been brought up over our life, the role models we've had as women. And when this episode will be released, yesterday it was just International Women's Day, and that was a day to celebrate all the women in our life that have made us into the beautiful women we are today, and all of the lessons that they have taught us, whether we keep them or refine them or we don't use them anymore. This is what has made us evolve into the beautiful women that we are today. And we carry this internal expectation, and we don't want to disappoint others, and so we push ourselves beyond capacity. And I guess, for those of us who have a family, we don't really want to disappoint our family. We want our family and our kids to be living to their fullest potential. And so we do stretch ourselves thin so that we can orchestrate for them. Okay, so, recently, last week, my youngest son was on camp, and it actually worked out. I did not have the capacity to get him organised. Now, he's in year 12, and we have been going to these types of camps with the same school for probably 10 years, with both of the boys included, and we are a well-oiled machine on how these work. We have areas where we store things, that we know where everything is. We have a list of food that we normally would get, all of these things, and I just didn't have the capacity, I didn't have time to step him through it. And I said to him, well, you're in this is actually part of his assignment. I said, you are in year 12 now, you can do it. And he went shopping with his dad to get the tools. But the funny thing is that when we've been planning this in the past, I've been shopping with one of my sons, one of the sons, and both times when, like with both of the kids, we have seen the girls from his class out shopping by themselves to get their things. And it does make me question when I've seen that. Um, why? Why? Was I too mothering? Was I, why didn't I let them? But I feel like, girls are a different kettle to what boys are, definitely. So, this is part of the overwhelm that we put on ourselves. Now, when he went away, he did forget a couple of things, but they were only minor. And if I had been leading him through, he probably wouldn't have forgotten them because I would have checked off the list again. But it was a good learning tool for him because he won't forget those things again. So, this is the kind of like things we do. We place these things upon ourselves because we think this is what we should be doing. But, delegate that, and it worked out fine. He was happy. He had a great time at camp. He got fed, and everything worked out really good. So all of these decisions that I could have made last week to try and fit my son in, I guess, really are, it comes to like decision fatigue. There's so much that we make. We make so many decisions on a daily basis that we don't even realize we're making these decisions, and then this is where the hidden exhaustion comes in, and we don't talk about it because sometimes we don't even recognize that we have it. And when we make these decisions, they're from like little things about what to wear, what to eat, and what to prioritize, and do I work on this today, do I work on that today, overthinking if you've got to respond to an email, overthinking that, how, what do I need to say, all of these things, decisions that come away, and they really chip away at our mental energy, and then before we know it, we're drained. Even before the day's over, it can be quite draining. Okay, so sometimes the biggest sign of overwhelm is feeling as if you're unable to make even the smallest decision, like starting a menu and staring at a menu. So you go out for dinner, you stare at the menu and you don't even know what to order. Okay, so for many of us, if we're in that, we have like a default order, schnitzel or something. It can be very overwhelming to make smallest decisions. Okay, so here are some signs that overwhelm is running the show. And I do not wish this for you. As I said, I still get caught up in the overwhelm cycle, but it's easier for me now to notice when it's happening. Okay. So if you start to feel as if you're stuck or paralyzed, maybe you feel as if there's so much to do and you don't even know where to start. So you just don't start. And the emails start piling up, the messages start piling up, the jobs around the house start piling up, and you kind of, you can see them, you know that you have to do them, but you pick up the the classic 10-year-old school child's strategy of task avoidance, and you end up sitting on the couch, scrolling on your phone, watching Netflix, YouTube, or, whatever it might be, instead of doing things that you actually know you need to do, but it just feels like it's too hard. Okay, so this can be referred to as freeze mode, and it's when overload is like taking over and you can't take action. And there's always some kind of constant mental noise. That's the always behind feeling. And, it can be as a teacher, I freely admit that school holidays are normally like a reset time for me, not just emotionally and mentally, but also for my house. And as it kind of gets towards, so we're just gone smack bang in the middle of this term, As it gets towards the end of the term, the house kind of, is a lesser priority. There's normally things to do at the end of a term which, you don't have to do all the other times. And I think to myself, oh, it's okay, I'll just do it in the holidays. So then by the time the holidays do come, things have built up to a point where, it's a couple of weeks behind of cleaning. But, at the same time, I don't mind doing it because I can do it better. I've got more time to do it, and there's nothing better than walking into a house or a room that you've just cleaned and knowing you did it, and it gives you like a really good feeling inside. And I always find when the house is tidier, I do have a better mental state. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. So when you're feeling behind, you have racing thoughts, and you always feel like you're forgetting something, and you feel like you're not caught up. And the emotion of all of this has a toll, and it affects your sleep, your energy levels, and your creativity. And this builds up, this whole cycle builds up, and this is where guilt and burnout can come, because you push yourself past the level of exhaustion and you feel guilty for needing the rest. So it's a cycle, and you build up, and then you feel guilty because you need a rest, and other people don't need a rest in your mind. That's what you're thinking. And so you keep pushing, and this cycle just goes around and around and around. And just thinking about it now, it is exhausting. It's very overwhelming. And I want you to ask yourself this question: how often do you treat rest like a reward instead of something that's really necessary? So I know for me, normally on the first weekend of the school holidays, I don't often do anything on the first weekend of the school holidays. I will often take that as my rest time. It certainly isn't as a reward. It is my necessary downtime on decompressing, on getting myself emotionally, mentally back into my home from the stress of the term. And that sometimes it can be a planned thing, but other times it might just be that I will just go with the flow, but I don't normally plan anything. If I'm going with the flow, it will just be whatever it is. And it could look like me watching Netflix, or it could be me catching up with friends and going for a hike. Okay, it really depends on how I'm feeling, the weather as well, because I don't mind hiking in the rain and wind, but if I can avoid it, I will. So it's when you lose that connection with joy, then your creativity will stop, and your self-care drops off. So this is what you lose: connection with joy, creativity, and self-care. Just because you kind of really have that thinking of, and this is where the should comes in, like I should have a rest. It's something I should be doing rather than rewarding yourself for it. Okay, so as a teacher, definitely you work 10 to 11 weeks in a row in very challenging situations. Sometimes you don't have any time off if you're fortunate enough to be well. And that is a long stretch of time to be dealing with a lot of the things we deal with as a teacher. So when you lose touch with your connection, joy, creativity, and self-care, the overwhelm makes it feel as if there's no time for these things to fit in. And these things are what nourish us. And, something I heard last week when I was at the SA Woman Summit, and it was a beautiful gathering of women in business, and we were talking about a lot of things throughout the day. And one of the things was that it was talking about yourself, and it was that you can't nourish something that you hate. So, a lot of us have this self-hate or an opinion of ourselves that we're not worth it, and it's really hard to nourish something that you dislike. So if you flip it and you start to see all of those beautiful qualities within yourself, it makes it a lot easier to nourish yourself. So I'm asking you this now. When was the last time you did something just because it made you happy? And not because it was productive or made anybody else happy, or you thought, oh, this is something I should do, but really made you happy, something that you really wanted to do. Okay, that's just something to think about. A journal point maybe for you. Okay, so we've talked a lot about all of this weight of overwhelm, and so how can we release this? Okay, so now I've got some steps to go through with you. There's 4 steps, okay, that we can go through that will really make it easier for you to identify and work out what you can do. So the first one is identify which shoulds you are carrying. Now, I guess if you are unaware of what these shoulds should be, I suggest that you sit down and grab out a piece of paper and write down everything you do, and then have a look at the list of everything you do and work out what is the things that you feel like that you're doing just because you feel like you should do, and you do because it's actually necessary. Okay. Also, as you go through the list, have a look at the list and think, which of these things whose expectation do these things belong to? Is it my expectation, or is it someone else's expectation? Okay, now some of the things on the list can be given to other people in the household to do. Some of the things, like one of the things for me is washing. I do not like anybody else doing my washing. It's something that I do. It's not because I think I should do it. It's actually because I want to do it. I don't want anybody else doing my washing. So, which, is a bit hard sometimes. It can be frustrating when someone else washes, because straight away my anxiety rises. And if I hear the machine going and I know they're washing my clothes, I kind of like go and check it out to see what it is. So, yeah, so ask yourself, look at the list, and whose expectation is this? Is it yours or someone else? Is this actually necessary, or am I putting pressure on myself? Okay, and then, I guess that the extra layer is, even if someone else could do it, are you doing it because you really want to do it, or you think you should do it? Okay. So this is an example. So I should say yes to every invitation because I don't want to let people down. So this is a reality check. You have permission to prioritize your energy. Okay, now most things that I do have a human design layer on them, and there's a huge part of human design, depending on what your energy is, that you've got to like prioritize your energy. Well, every energy type needs to prioritize how they spend their energy, and you don't really want to spend your energy doing things that you don't love, that don't excite you. Okay, so an example with this is my mum. She's traditional English, has come from a traditional English background, and every time we got an invitation to something, we went, and it would be like, oh yeah, I have to go. If I don't go, they'll think whatever. And then it'll be a condition afterwards. If we go, yeah, okay, we'll go, but we won't stay long, and we'll say we have to whatever, some made up white story about something. And this is how I was brought up as well. So I was always someone who would go, or would have this made up story of why I had to leave early, or something like that. And then as I started like really opening up myself and really questioning all of these behaviors, it came down to working out where this behaviour came from. And there was one occasion I was going somewhere with my mum, and she said, "I will go for the first part. We won't go for the second part, and we'll tell them something." And I said, "No." I said, "We'll go for the first part, and we won't tell them anything about why we're not staying for the second part. We just don't need to stay for the second part." And she it really caught her aback, and I've picked her up on that a few times, because these are all the masks we lead, and the people pleasing, and all this kind of thing. Like we're not doing it for anybody else. We're doing it for ourselves. We're giving ourselves permission to prioritize our energy. So that's the first step. So the first step is, identifying all these shoulds that you are carrying. The second step, prioritize like a manifesting generator, even if you're not one. So I am. And manifesting generators thrive when they follow what lights them up. And we can all learn something from this. So no matter what energy type you are, really set this as one of your boundaries, that you're going to do things that excite you and that light you up, and you can see are going to be a real passion for you, because you're going to be good at it. It won't be overwhelming for you. And depending on what it is, you may even meet a whole heap of people from a different community that you can then, become friends with. So instead of asking yourself, what should I do? Try say, what actually energizes me? And if it feels too heavy and draining, explore why you feel obligated to do that. If it's really not something you don't want to do, then work it out. Why don't you want to do this? And if it's something that you like, the events come up that we have to attend, set a boundary around it about how long you want to stay and so forth. Okay, so step 3 is the power of 3 daily wins. Now, I've already done a podcast on this, so that was a few podcast episodes ago. And overwhelm happens when we focus on everything at once. So to shift your focus, just focus on 3 things per day. And each morning when you get up, or even before you get up, set yourself 3 small, manageable goals. And this will make you feel accomplished, okay? So they can be really, really simple things. And instead of saying, like, I need to clean the whole house, because that's the umbrella thing that you might be achieving. But today, what are you going to do today? You're going to tidy the kitchen bench. You're going to clear out one drawer, and you're going to put on a load of washing. Okay? And then what happens is, as you do those, you get that little dopamine hit coming on, and you kind of think, oh yeah, this is cool. I've created the momentum that I need to keep carrying us forward. And at the beginning of the year, I did a 7-day series. It was a 7-day reset to get us ready for the new year. And one of those things was, one of the challenges in the day was doing this 3 things a day. And the feedback I got just from this one little thing is, once they did the 3 things, they felt so good that they actually ended up doing 10, 15 little things throughout the day, because it was the momentum had started, and once they were on a roll, it was easier to keep going. Now I do have a 3 daily wins tracker here. Okay, so this will be in the show notes if you want this. It's just like a little, it comes in a PDF. You can download it and you can use that, and it has things on there, personal goals, work goals, and then at the end of the day, a reflection on what went well. Okay, so when we do our reflections on what went well, it's really, it carries the momentum into the next day. Okay, so step 4 is the permission slip exercise, and this one can be a really powerful way to release the weight of overwhelm. And you write yourself a permission slip, and this is something that I've done with some of my clients before. They, like many people, wouldn't have done this, and it's so powerful. And you can put this somewhere where you can see it, either on your mirror, when you're getting ready in the morning, on your laptop if you're at work, or somewhere is going to be convenient. And it could be something like, I give myself permission to let go of what no longer serves me. I give myself permission to take up space without guilt. And I give myself permission to prioritize rest. Okay, it can be something like that, or something that you know is really weighing you down in the overwhelm. I give myself permission to, and you write your own words, whatever it might be. And when you physically write it out, it helps rewire your brain, and your mindset changes a little bit. And when you hear it from yourselves, like deep down inside yourself, it really can matter. It's a deeper kind of feeling that you get from it. Okay, so you're not meant to carry everything alone, and the key is to release overwhelm by not doing more. Okay, so it's about letting go of what is overwhelming you, what is weighing you down. Okay, it's there's some beautiful processes there that I've gone through today to work out what is that. Now, these are some actions that you can take. So I encourage you to download my 3 Daily Wins tracker. That will help shift the overwhelm to momentum, and it gives you something. So you could print that out and use it, or you could just like use the format in a diary, or you can use the digital format, whatever works for you. And if you want a deeper guidance, book a Thrive call with me, and let's see how that can work out for you. And a Thrive call is a 15 to 30 minute call where we can talk through what is overwhelming you at this moment, and we can see what I can offer to help you, give you some tips to help you get on your way. It's free, and the link will be in the show notes as well. Okay, thank you for joining in. If you have enjoyed this, I encourage you to like and subscribe to this channel. I aim to have a video every week on a different topic, and soon we will be including guest podcasters as well. So look out for that one. Okay, thank you. Now follow your heart, trust the path, and remember, the magic is in the moments in between. Bye for now.